Hey folks, this is Kalani. The dev team just announced some massive changes to the gear upgrade system and how many crests it's going to cost you to upgrade your gear in the Midnight expansion. And with early access less than a week away, they're definitely cutting it close here. There's also a new feature on the beta that should make gearing up even easier and faster in Season 1. We have some quick class buffs and nerfs to go over, and there are a few new Twitch drops coming next week. There's a lot to talk about, so let's break it all down in this week's WoW News video. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. First up this week, we have some huge changes to the gear upgrade system in Midnight, specifically to the number of crests that you will need to upgrade each rank or tier of gear. Previously, the crest requirements would actually increase as your gear became more powerful, so your first upgrade would cost 10 crests, and then each level would add 10 more. So your final upgrade from 5 of 6 to 6 of 6 on any gear track would cost 50 crests. That was just changed to a flat 20 crests per level, so it's going to be quite a bit cheaper to fully upgrade your gear with these changes in play, from a total of 150 crests down to 100. But that does still leave us in a position where upgrading gear will cost more crests than it did throughout the War Within. We'll be dealing with 20 crests per upgrade instead of the 15 that we've been used to. That's not all of the changes this week though. The crest costs for crafting higher tiers of spark crafted gear were also increased from 60 to 80, which is a significant increase, especially if you plan on using a lot of high level crafted gear. Now there is a little bit of a silver lining here. The crest discount achievements that reduce the crest costs for your alts have been buffed up by quite a bit. Instead of providing a 33% discount, which reduced our crest costs from 15 to 10 in the War Within, that's been buffed up to a 50% discount, so that will reduce your crest upgrade costs from 20 down to 10 in Midnight. So crest requirements for alts actually aren't changing, you'll still be at 10 crests per upgrade, but that means you should be able to gear up quite a bit faster when compared to your main characters in Midnight. Now just to avoid any confusion, the achievements that were changed are the ones that you earn when you reach a certain item level on your main character and can no longer benefit from certain crests. These are the same achievements that allow you to trade up your crests as well. In Midnight they will be called Adventurer, Veteran, Champion, Hero, and Myth of the Dawn. So there have been some significant changes to the upgrade system, which is a little surprising when you consider the game goes live next week. The increasing costs of crests per upgrade was met with some mixed reviews when it was first shown on the Midnight beta, and I'm pretty glad to see the flat upgrade costs return. Now, if you aren't aware, there are some pretty big differences with how gear upgrading works in Midnight when compared to the War Within. For starters, all of the gear tracks are far more distinct now. They aren't going to overlap anywhere near as much as they do right now. Each track is also only 6 steps long, and you can only upgrade a piece of gear with the matching track crest. So champion gear can only be upgraded using champion crests. It doesn't matter where it comes from or what item level it is or what level on the track you are. You can only use champion crests for champion gear. Hero track gear can only be upgraded with hero crests, so you don't have that swap over to a higher tier of crest halfway through your gear upgrading, which will definitely be interesting, and it should make upgrading far more intuitive. We also won't need any Valor Stones to fuel your upgrades. Valor Stones are completely gone in Midnight. You will need to fork over a small amount of gold for each of your gear upgrades though, so instead of Valor Stones and crests, you'll instead be using gold and crests. And then the last important change is the weekly crest cap is being increased from 90 to 100, so upgrades will cost more but we'll be able to farm more crests per week. I don't think an extra 10 crests really evens things out, but hopefully with the distinct gear tracks and crests you can make better use of each crest type without worrying about missing out on some other important upgrades. While we're on the topic of crests, it looks like we will see quite a few different ways to earn crests in Midnight, including by taking part in the housing feature. Over the past couple of weeks there have been some special weekly quests available on the beta. The current one is called Community Engagement, and it requires you to purchase an item from the current Endeavor trader in your neighborhood. To do that, you'll need to take part in the Endeavor feature until you have enough community coupons to make that purchase. So you will have to interact with the housing system at least a little bit if you want to complete these new weekly quests. You can choose between 20 hero crests, 40 champion crests, 60 veteran crests, some extra Void Light Maul, or some Void Touched Augment runes, and then you'll also always get the rewards at the bottom. Those rewards are not insignificant when you consider our 100 weekly crest cap. That's 1/5 of your hero crests from a housing weekly quest. That's kind of crazy and could open the doors for easier gear upgrades for non-group content focused players. It seems like we may see a few different versions of this weekly quest, because last week it was called Housewarming, and that one required you to gather with at least 4 other players inside a player home while the homeowner is present. So you have to throw at least a little party somewhere with the owner of the house taking part. I'm not sure why you can't just gate crash someone else's home, but completing that quest would reward you with the same goodies: a choice of hero, champion or veteran dawn crests, and a handful of other currencies. So it's not just how we spend crests that's changing, how we earn them will be different in Midnight as well. Now, things could actually change way more than that. There's a new feature coming in Midnight called the VOIDFORGE. You unlock the VOIDFORGE by completing an important quest from a key NPC in the expansion. With it being a purple important quest, that means everyone will be pointed towards this quest at some point in the future. To build the VOIDFORGE, you'll need to collect some Void Core shards from completing raids, bountiful delves, or Mythic Plus dungeons. Hand them into the NPC and you'll get an elemental Void Core. According to this tooltip, the VOIDFORGE requires 6 Void Cores to be completed, so 6 rounds of quests or hand-ins. That just screams weekly quest with a 6-week timer for its completion. Unfortunately, we don't really know what the VOIDFORGE does right now. All we have to go on is the tooltip. Gain access to the VOIDFORGE, granting you new ways to collect and upgrade powerful items in Midnight Season 1. So when this thing gets built, you should have more options for how to gear up. That could mean crafting gear from the raids or dungeons, kind of like how we can buy gear from vendors during Turbo Boost events. We might be able to upgrade gear further, say to 8 of 8 instead of the normal 6 of 6, again, just like the Turbo Boost events in the War Within. I'm not sure how that would work with the new neat gear upgrade tracks, but the tooltip does say new ways to upgrade gear. So maybe you can upgrade gear faster or easier, maybe using fewer crests. It does seem to be some form of faster or easier gearing feature, which could be a replacement for the Turbo Boost events, but work in basically the same kind of way. There is another piece to this puzzle. We also don't know when this VOIDFORGE quest will be available. If it's the start of Season 1 and it takes 6 weeks to complete, that takes us to about the halfway mark of the season, which sounds about right for a Turbo Boost style event. But they could delay this quest by a number of weeks as well, which would delay whatever kind of bonuses this VOIDFORGE is going to give us. We simply don't have enough information as it stands right now, and we don't have 6 weeks on the beta to see what a finished VOIDFORGE looks like before the game actually goes live. So we're all going to find out together what the VOIDFORGE is supposed to do at the start of Season 1. But no matter what this VOIDFORGE ends up being, there will be new ways to gear up when we are able to complete it. Now, in other news, we have some more balance tuning changes coming with the weekly reset that specifically target the defensive abilities and passives of certain classes and specs. For Unholy Death Knights, Rune of the Apocalypse Famine effect now reduces the damage the target deals to the caster by 1% down from 5%, which is a pretty huge nerf. For mages, Arcane Warding was doubled up to reduce magic damage taken by 4 and 8% for those talent points, and all mage barrier spells now absorb an additional 5% max health, so they should last a bit longer before they pop. For monks, Windwalker's Calming Presence now decreases damage taken by 6%, up from 3%, and Martial Instincts now increases avoidance by 3 and 6%, up from 2 and 4%, so some pretty decent defensive buffs right there. And then for the priests, Angelic Bulwark now absorbs damage equal to 25% of max health, up from 15%, Spell Warding was increased up to 3 and 6% magic damage reduction, and Strength of Soul now increases stamina by 6%, up from 4%, so quite a lot of buffs to various defensive spells and passives. That's all of the class changes this week, which isn't too surprising. We had a massive round of buffs and nerfs go through last week, so hopefully we're in an okay spot as we head into Midnight Early Access. Speaking of which, the dev team just released a blue post that goes over the release schedule of the Midnight expansion, just in case you needed a reminder that the expansion is less than a week away at this point. Early access will open up on February 26th at 3 PM PST, and remember that these launches are global, so everyone gains access at the same time regardless of time zone, realm, or continent. So 3 PM PST is 6 PM EST, or 11 PM GMT, or midnight CET, if I've got that right anyway. If you haven't pre-purchased for the early access, the expansion's actual launch date is March 2nd, so that's when the doors open up for real and everyone with the expansion can jump into the new adventures. The times will be the same as early access, so 3 PM PST and whatever that converts to for your current time zone. Now, early access has been quite the controversial topic since it was initially offered for the War Within expansion, so I'm curious to hear what you think about it being available for the Midnight expansion as well. Do you have early access? And if you do, what do you plan on doing with the extra 4 days you have to play? Let me know in the comments section below. And then to round out this week's video, we have some new Twitch rewards to pick up alongside the early access launch. Starting on February 26th, if you gift 2 subscriptions to your favourite WoW streamer, you can earn yourself the Fishmonger May pet, which is very cute indeed. It's basically a $10 pet, but instead of paying that to Blizzard, you're helping out your favourite streamers, and I guess Twitch at the same time. That event runs until March 26th, and I'm starting to think we chose the wrong time to stop streaming. That's not all though, there's also a standard free Twitch drop available at the same time. Starting on February 26th, if you watch 4 hours of World of Warcraft content, you can earn the Cuddly Alliance Blue Gurgle and the Cuddly Horde Red Gurgle Murloc plushies. So if you just needed more Murloc plushies in your housing decor setup, you want to head over to Twitch to catch some streams after early access goes live. These drops will be available until March 24th, so you've got plenty of time to squeeze those 4 hours of watch time in. But that's all of the updates we have so far, so that's it for this week's WoW News video. What do you think of the changes to the gearing system from what we've seen so far? And what do you think this mysterious VOIDFORGE could be? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.